purpose of this video is to assist clubs in completing the Club Safeguarding Self-Assessment Framework. You will have received a link from your national governing body inviting you to commence this process. When you click on that link, it will take you to this home page here. As you will see when you arrive at the home page, there's some information around the framework itself, how to use the tool, and also some additional contact details and other information regarding data privacy. So to commence the process, you'll need to create an account or log in. So you click on this icon, create a username, password, and email address. Once you've created those fields, you hit submit and it will automatically take you back to the form. You will note that you'll receive a notification that you have logged in and now created an account. It's very important to complete this step as it will allow you to save your progress at any time and return at a later date. So once you've created your account, you're ready to commence the process. So in the first instance, there's just some general information required in terms of the email address, the name of the club, etc. And there's just two questions I want to draw your attention to here to provide further information on. The first is the name of a relevant person. So you'll note here on the bottom there's some additional information which explains what this question means. And that states that the relevant person is the first point of contact in respect of the club's safeguarding statement. So that relates to Children First legislation and guidance. So you'll indicate the name of your relevant person in this box and also note that both of these roles can be filled by the same person depending on the structure of your club. The other question I want to highlight to you here is the last question, which states, are you a provider of a relevant service? Again, there's some explanatory information here which clearly states that this particular question also relates to Children First legislation and guidance. So for clubs in the Republic of Ireland, you are providers of a relevant service as Children First legislation and guidance applies to you. For clubs in Northern Ireland, the legislation does not apply to you. So once you've answered all of those questions, you can begin the process of completing the questionnaire. So the structure and format of the questionnaire is the same throughout the process. You will read a statement. You will then indicate whether you meet, partially meet, or do not meet that requirement, and provide additional evidence in support of your answer. So taking this first question here, all key safeguarding rules have been filled. Has your club fully met, partially met, or not met that requirement? You can answer the question as required, and then in the evidence box you can provide additional information here. So whether that's clarification that all roles were appointed at your club's AGM or something to that effect, or an explanation of why you have only partially or not met that requirement also. In some instances, there will be not applicable options depending on the structure of the question and its relevance to clubs in the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. So you continue that format the whole way through, reading the statement, answering it appropriately, and providing evidence as required. When you get to the end of each section, there's also an additional optional space here. This is something that, as I said, is optional. So as a club, if you have identified any actions which you will need to implement as a club in order to strengthen or further adhere to your safeguarding requirements, you can identify that action here in this box, nominate a lead person to deliver on it, and also input the date by which you will have achieved it. Again, this is an optional section. You can enter one action or you can enter 10. It's completely up to you as a club, depending on how you've answered the questions and what you have identified in your self-assessment. Finally, just before we move on, just to note these red asterisks here after each question and by each evidence box. This indicates that these fields are compulsory and must be completed before you can move on to the next page. You'll also note that you can save your progress as you go. So I'm just going to save my progress here in case anything happens and I lose the data that I've input. So moving on to section 2 then, you'll see that it follows the same format. So as a club, you'll read the statement and answer it accordingly. So you can continue through the questionnaire in that manner, answering the questions as required. As I mentioned previously, if at some point you need to save your progress and exit out of the application, you can do that. Once you log in again, you'll be able to pick it up where you left off. Once you have completed the form, you'll be able to submit it to your national governing body. So when you get to the last page, there'll be an icon down here which says Submit. You'll click Submit, and the form will be submitted to your NGB. Also, just to note, even once you have submitted your form, if for some reason you need to come back and make some changes, you can do so. It's just a case of logging into your account again, and I'll show you how to do that now. So at any point after you've completed the form, or if you have to leave it halfway through, you can return by clicking on the link that your national governing body sent you, clicking this icon here to create an account or log in, and in this particular instance you're going to be a returning user. So you'll enter your username and the password and click Submit. So it'll take you to this page here where you'll see that you just started a form and it's still in progress, and you can click the Edit button here. Once you click the Edit button, it takes you back to your form, and you can toggle through and pick up where you left off to complete it or make any changes as required. Again, you have the Save Progress button here to save any changes that you made.